these strength and conditioning coaches, these new sport technology,
yo,
bullshit, bro. You're not stealing money. You're absolutely stealing money from people.
100%.
So yeah, as we're talking about Dubois in number 2 for the WBO, I want to touch on the state of boxing. And there's so much corruption, and I don't even say just corruption, just so much things in boxing that are out of place. Like the rankings, for example. We all know certain sanctioning bodies, they have certain people that they pander to. I'm not going to name any names for today's day. We know who they are. You can name them if you want after.
Yeah.
But like back in the day, Don King, if he has a fighter, as soon as you sign the contract, that means after your next fight, you're ranked number 2 in the WBC. You fight someone else, you're the mandatory contender. Or you just get the title shot straight off the bat. Yeah, so you want to talk about the UFC?
Yeah, I wanted to bring up the UFC in terms of the argument of the state of boxing. In terms of, obviously, I feel like when people talk about the state of boxing, the argument automatically comes up about the comparisons to UFC. And obviously, UFC at the moment is run a lot smoother and a lot better in terms of there's one governing body. And I feel like this is an issue that realistically we have to accept, and it's going to be there forever in boxing. You've got all these rank belts. You got the WBC, WBO, WBA, IBF. You've got all these governing bodies, and that obviously is going to be an issue in terms of making the fights and the business running smoothly. But I feel like the state of boxing, I feel like you can't knock it. Boxing makes money. Yeah, you know what I mean? You ask Canelo, you ask AJ, you ask, you know what I mean? The top fighters, even them man are the elite. Even if you go down a peg and we going just to regular world champions, they're making good money. Boxing makes good money. I feel like it's a hard argument. The people in UFC and the MMA fans are gonna always bring up this debate, but we see the best, feed the best all the time, and they are right in that sense. We are deprived of that in boxing, but I feel like in terms of making money and the hype and the way it builds, and when the big fights are made, the money it generates, I feel like you can't knock it. You know what I mean? We have to take the good with the bad in boxing.
And with boxing, from how it was built up, it was the mafia running it. Isn't it? So from time you've come from the mafia running pretty much everything, it's always going to be corrupt. It's going to be hard to maintain that thing. With UFC, I'll say, it's like their number one thing was seeing what boxing did wrong and how they could improve on it. Yeah. And the number one thing was branding. We're going to take this UFC, this belt, because there was Strikeforce, there's a lot of like Asian companies in it, and there's obviously UFC is like the WBC. So they're the main one that everyone wants, as opposed to the actual. Like, they're not the dictators of the actual sport, but to most people, they do seem to be. And the fact that they have the best fighters, they have the best promotion, they have all of that. So it's easier for them to do because they've branded it so well from the best stages. Getting guys like Brock Lesnar, we all know he was on steroids. But they still brought him in. He passed out.
In terms of MMA. In terms of MMA. They've locked down MMA and put it under one brand in one.
Yeah, exactly. And even if you look at MMA, you see someone, he's a judo specialist. All the top judo specialists, let's be real with it, they're in Japan, they're in China. And they have their own ones where you don't really see those guys going to the UFC.
But if they get into the MMA, obviously that's who you're gonna know. You're gonna know that fighter as the best judo.
Yeah, exactly. As soon as you're the welterweight UFC champion, that means you're the best at MMA.
What they do, yeah.
That's where they've got it down to a T, where boxing cannot compete with that.
Yeah. There's an argument, and I've got a few MMA fans as well that love to bring up this debate. But at the same time, I've noticed that nobody in boxing brings up the debate with people in MMA and UFC. This is an argument that MMA and UFC fans bring up with people in boxing. It's like we people in boxing don't even entertain it. You know what I mean? It's not even an argument to us. But people in MMA and UFC try to keep bringing up the argument because obviously they know boxing has been the pinnacle for how long. And they're trying to latch on to, but we're better, we're this, we're that, It's two different sports, man. Let's not get into that argument. I will be honest, even though I'm a boxing man, and say the UFC at the moment seems like it's run better. But I feel like the state of boxing, like I said, you take the good with the bad. It is a shambles in terms of you got these governing bodies. And at the end of the day, WBC is what's his name? Mauricio Solomon, Mexican brother. He's gonna favor the Mexicans. IBF is a black Donny in America. He's gonna favor the black Donnies. WBO is in Frank Warren's pocket. You know what I mean? And top rank. So they're always gonna be biased to who benefits them, and it is a bit of a shambles in that sense. But when it comes down to it, I feel like we get the fights we want to see. They get made. The money talks at the end of the day.
I'm still waiting for Kell Brook versus Amir Khan, bro.
Yeah, that's not. That's not.
I was a young G.
Yeah, but
there's a lot of facts.
That blame ain't on governing bodies. That blame.
We'll get into that after, and we'll get into that after.
Well, you brought it up now. Do you want to get into it now?
Huh? No, I don't. I just don't bring it up. Don't bring it up. We'll bring it up in a second.
For me, Kell Brook's Amir Khan's the reason. Kell Brook, I was dissing you earlier. Amir Khan is the fault behind that, but I'll justify with Khan in the reason why you don't fight Brook.
Alright, I did for a while, innit? But I've completely lost my point.
Waffling, that's why. Waffling. But anyway, for me, that's a money thing. I feel like Amir Khan is bigger than Brook, or bigger than what he feels they're trying to offer for that fight. But
that's another reason why those top fights don't be made. It's because the sanctioning bodies, their rankings are so shit.
Yeah,
it's literally like you said, everyone's in their back pocket, so they put certain guys there. Anthony Yard, how he became mandatory for the I don't know.
What belt was that?
WBO.
Frank Warren,
straight off, innit?
Yeah.
I still can't remember anyone who's actually fought the names. I don't remember normally when someone fights someone, I remember the names, innit?
Yeah.
I don't waste my time learning if his fighters.
Who Yard. You're saying, yeah. Given, that's a fair point. And
it's like in UFC, the top 10 are the top 10. Whether or not each guy's placed correctly or whatnot, every time you see a UFC mandatory and he becomes a UFC interim champion, they do the little undisputed thing. It's always a good fight. It's always a big fight. In boxing, how the hell can you have in a stacked division a mandatory challenger that nobody's ever heard of?
Well, I'm trying to ride for boxing because you're not helping. you're not helping my corner, cuz. Fair point. Valid point.
So if Kell Brook would have become a mandatory for Amir Khan and they had to fight, and Khan drops a belt like Riddick Bowe did back in the day or whatever.
Yeah, for Lennox.
That's one thing, isn't it? That's where boxing comes together. Like Canelo vs Golovkin. The WBC did everything they did to get that fight. Yeah. Whether that was for good reasons or for money reasons, that's another story.
It happened.
But so it's like, it's not hard to do. It's really not hard to do. There's a good fighter. He just had a good win. He's number one. Let them fight.
So what's your argument? The state of boxing. What are you telling me?
A shambles.
Well, we ain't boxing. I'm not saying this. Yeah. British Boxing Board of Control. I'm vouching for you, man. Still,
I like the British one. They're good. I think mostly the sanctioning bodies of the titles. It's because they have so much power. They could do so much good with it, but they just choose not to.
Yeah, and money talks again, man. Going back to the point we said, it's sad because there's so much money involved that people are protecting their own pockets. Obviously, you got the PBC with Al Heyman and them, man. You got the Crawford Spence situation. That fight, it's inevitable.
And again, that's what annoys me the most, though, because when you take those risks, like Dillian White, okay, he hasn't got his title shot, but he's made bank. He's made stupid money compared to other guys. Andy Ruiz about to fight Chris Arreola. What the fuck is going on?
What are you saying?
What's the point? Like, what is the actual point? What is?
I don't think that's a bad fight.
Fuck off.
Yeah?
What? Chris Arreola.
What are you saying? Shambles.
You might as well fight Adam Kawanaki, because Kawanaki is awful, but at least he's young, he's hungry.
Ruiz is in the catch.
Do you remember how people growed Wilder for fighting Arreola?
Yeah.
Come on, bro. He's been done from I don't know how long ago, bro. He lost to Severn. Come on, bro. Twice.
Fair point.
What was he gonna say?
I don't even know. I tried to find that argument.
It's a shambles. Chris Arreola, come on, bro. It's like even UFC, like their journeymen are elite level. Like you're not just gonna.
You ain't gonna have someone there to just for you to be to look good
beat up, innit? Yeah. You're gonna have to fight someone
real.
You
get that in boxing.
Yeah, exactly.
That a lot in boxing.
You're gonna go in there, do a job on the guy, whatever. Nah, man, it pisses me off. Especially, I hate watching shit fights. I hate it. Like, remember when boxing came back and Top Rank was doing all them shit little shows. Like people like, I'm excited boxing's back. At least I'm gonna watch. I'm fuck that. I was gonna say something a bit mad. Let me not go there, but
I tried to vouch.
Do other stuff.
I tried to vouch for you lot. Babs is just shitting on my whole argument. It's a valid point. It's a valid point. That is the on that side. Yeah, you do see a lot of bollocks just to like pastime and whatnot. So when you ask me about the state of boxing, obviously I'm talking about you generate money. The top fighters are happy, and but in reality, in terms of you do get fed a lot of bullshit in boxing. I'll hold my hands up to that.
So Chris Arola versus fucking Andy Ruiz, and you got Luis Ortiz on the undercard, and they're due to fight each other.
Who? Ruiz versus
Ortiz if they come through it. But you know how many times I've seen cards like that where the both guys wins and they still don't fight?
They build it up and hype it up for ages.
Joyce versus Dubois is another example. You see them fight, they're meant to be next.
Ryan Garcia is another one for me in terms of the state of boxing. Like, obviously, I heard he refused that big payday behind closed doors because he thought he was... He deserves more than what he is. He
didn't consider there's no fans. I bring in a lot of fan tickets, so I have to deduct that from what I'm getting. So, but other fighters making more. I'm thinking, who's fought in lockdown? Who's fought in lockdown? They made a lot of money. No one, innit?
So what are you saying? State of boxing is a shambles.
We'll get into the fighters after. Innit? Talk about the promoters now, yeah.
Okay.
So of course you got the PBC who are trying to discount the WBO. Yeah. You have Top Rank, who are making Tyson Fury fight Tom Schwartz and the other guy. Can't remember his name. You have
Wallin. Was it Wallin?
Yeah, Wallin. You have Matchroom, Eddie Hearn, and his whole love him or hate him thing. Let me not start.
Man like Ed, big Ed.
And you have Frank Warren. And of course you've got other smaller guys. You have the Sauerlands, they do a good job in Europe and whatnot. So what do you make of all the promoters and how they do or don't work together?
But you know me, I'm opinionated.
Yeah,
I'm opinionated. I don't want to upset no promoters. I might have to come and work with you sooner or later, so I don't want to upset the apple cart at all.
Let's start with PBC and how their whole system is.
Shambles.
Yeah.
Shambles.
I was just talking bad about
Look, they deprive us of the fights we deserve, innit?
Yeah.
They deprive us of the fights, the big fights. They have a big stable, they have a big setup and a lot of elite fighters, and they're only mixing it with each other. You know what I mean? There's a lot of their fighters that we would like to see against the Top Rank and the other stable fighters that we don't get. And that is a shambles.
That's my thing. That's why I was getting onto the sanctioning bodies, because they have power to make the fights. The promoters also, they have power to make the fights as well, probably more than the sanctioning bodies. And that's what annoys me about the state of boxing. All I want to do is watch fights. Whether or not you lot saying, timing this, timing that, whatever. Just make, as long as you make the fights.
You know me, I'm a fighting man as well, and I feel like timing is nip that in the bud, because a fighter will learn more from getting thrown in the deep end. Win, lose or draw. Like me as a fighting man, I'm not gonna look at a fighter any less for taking a loss against an elite fighter. You know what I mean? If we're not sure whether that fighter is elite yet or not, but you fry him in with an elite fighter and he loses a close decision, it doesn't discredit their ability or where they can go.
And people will talk about, if you take a loss, your value goes down. And I was asked, name me one fighter who continually fights top fighters and his value goes down. Look at Dylan White. His value, he's about to make more money in the rematch.
I feel like Mayweather.
And that's my thing. Mayweather, he made the O important. I think it's like the O will make you more money. Losing won't cost you money. If you keep winning, of course you're gonna make more money. You're fighting the top guys. You've got the belt. You've got the reputation. People gonna keep watching. How many times did Manny Pacquiao lose? I've lost count. He's still now. He's one of the biggest draws in the sport. It don't matter who you are. If you got the style, you're fighting top guys. You're making a lot of money.
I feel like Mayweather added to that perception, but it is not a good perception at all, because at the end of the day, like I said, me as a fighting man, I feel like sometimes the loss is more important than the wins. You know, you can learn a lot from them losses. Look at AJ from movies.
I don't think his value's gone down either.
Not at all. You know, so he can come back from that and move forward. But yeah, the governing bodies are whether they're protecting their money, protecting their investment, and thinking that is that important. Obviously, it is costing us. It is depriving us from big fights. So,
but it's like a staple like PBC. You've got Sean Porter, you've got Keith Thurman, you've got Errol Spence. These guys have been around from 2015, 14, and only 2020 now we're seeing these guys mix it up. That's a shambles. That's a shambles. And even worse than that is these guys. Gary Russell Jr. has fought once a year since 2014, bro. He wasted his whole prime fighting mandatories. That's heartbreaking.
PBC, shambles.
Yeah, Top Rank.
Next one. Who's they got? Who's Top Rank got?
You know what? They've actually got a lot of fight. I ain't got time to list them, bro. Obviously, Tyson Fury, they're making him fight bums.
Yeah.
Light heavyweight, they do quite a good job.
Pacquiao?
Yeah, he left them.
Yeah.
PBC got Pacquiao.
Swear.
Yeah. So I fight Broner, innit?
Okay, bro, man, like Broner,
Furman, them guys,
man.
yeah.
The can man.
So they have like with PBC, with Top Rank, what I like about them, when they have fighters in the stable, they will all fight each other, innit? They don't care. They're thinking, you're my fighter, you lot win. Whoever wins, I make more money regardless, innit? So they'll all fight. It's like the UFC thing where if I put all the top fighters together and give them the best fights, I'll make the most money.
Regardless.
So Top Rank do that. With cross promotion, they're not as willing to do it. They are, but they're not as willing, especially with the higher guys. Like the top tier fighters, they're not as willing. But with their own fighters and the lesser guys, they don't mind doing that at all.
So what do you think about this? You see the Frank Warren, Eddie Hearn thing?
Of not working together.
Frank Warren put out them posts about basically all these top fighters versus all Hearn's top fighters. Let's talk these British, bro. I got more to say.
Yeah, I know. That's why we're never Americans.
Yeah, right. We started on PBC. I don't really fuck with them Americans. I don't really, British boxing, that's where we're at. Frank Warren, Eddie Hearn. What's the question?
They both talk a lot of shit, innit? That's what I can say. At the end of the day, if either team wanted to make the fight happen,
it could happen. It can happen. And obviously, I feel like there's certain fights that Eddie Hearn and Matchroom would rather
have, innit?
Yeah. And then Frank Warren has got his fights that he would rather see.
It's like Waxy vs Yard, Even the fighters, Waxy was very respectful. It's like, when it comes, it comes. Yard, same thing. When it comes,
I watched the interview with Yard as well,
But Matchroom, they're seeing he's about to fight Kovalev. They're building him up. He's got a high ranking. We know his level of boxing compared to where his perception is not the same.
Yeah.
So they was like, Waxy Yard, let's make the fight right now, innit? Obviously, Team Yard, they're not even looking at that. Now, innit?
They're making money, they're doing what they're doing, the guys are on the prize on that side, so it don't benefit them that Waxy fight at that time.
Exactly.
But I do feel like, boxing right now is in a transition stage in terms of, I feel like Eddie Hearn had the game sewn up with Anthony Joshua, with the hype train, everything that they was doing. I feel like they had the game sewn up. I feel like in the last few months, since the post-COVID thing, I feel like Frank Warren's put on a lot of good fights. I thought he's put on a lot of good shows, and I feel like it's put Frank Warren back up there. And I feel like that is exciting for British boxing. I feel like that rivalry, them two being neck and neck in terms of the shows they're putting on, the consistency of the shows and the level of the shows, I feel like adds to British boxing. It's
like any business, you don't want a monopoly, innit? When there's only one guy at the top, they don't want to push them.
It's easy.
Yeah, once you've got that competition,
you have to step up. You have to raise the level.
With Frank Warren's record of every fighter he goes through, he usually likes to take them southern area, English, British, build them up. And whilst you're doing that, there's a lot of there's a lot of stepping stone fights where these fighters are every time they're stepping up, fighting relevant people. And he has a lot of domestic tear-ups like Saunders versus Eubank when he put that together. That way, even like obviously it's a big fight in terms of boxing, but in terms of the wider audience, not many people really knew that.
That was a British thing and British only.
I would even like, even I'm saying that, like I know a lot of people that know Saunders, know Eubank, they don't know they fought. As in not hardcore fans. Yeah, they don't know they fought. Who watched that? I didn't watch it myself.
I understand. Fair point. Obviously, at the time, it was as well.
Yeah, but now if Frank Warren's put on fights like that, the whole boxing world will know it. The casuals will know it. Everyone will know it. So his stature increasing, it helps stuff like that. And he's signing a lot of young talent right now. And once those guys start coming through, get a few fights under the belt, they all start fighting each other. With him keeping his ear to the street, seeing who the up-and-coming guys are, once they all fight each other and you know who's who, he's going to have all the talent.
Yeah, who? Frank Warren? Yeah,
whether they stick with him or not, because we see a lot of times they get to that level, then they go to Eddie.
Frank Warren, yeah. That's a bitter, that's a bitter blow. But obviously, at the time being, it feels like Eddie has the bigger promotion. He feels like he can offer fighters more. But I do feel like Frank Warren is putting himself in that mix. He has been signing a lot of up-and-coming fighters. Umar Khan. Most recently, I believe it come out 2 days ago. Yeah. Big signing. Watch out for my Donny. Serious, but a super bantamweight. But like you said, keeping your ear to the street, signing all these up-and-coming fighters, it only adds to your stable. It adds to your bill, and it's going to create the big fights. Hopefully, they do stay with him, and he does manage to be able to offer them the level of platform that Matchroom stable is offering fighters, and they stay with him. And then, in due time, we just want to see the big fights happening. You know what I mean? We don't want to see this situation where promoters are not making this fight happen because of one's with one promoter, one's with another, and it's like they want to do their own thing. BT Sport and Sky Sports, I feel like is a major
platform, isn't it?
but a major like it's a blocking. It's in a way, do you know what I mean? Because of obviously Frank Warren. At the end of the day, if you're not on BT Sport, you don't want to know. Matchroom, if you're not on Sky Sports, they want to know. So they have got to come to that point where they're gonna have to agree that at the end of the day, we want to make the big fights. Like you said, as a fan, all I want to see is the real fighters in with each other, putting in real fights.
The last part I talk about in the state of boxing is the fighters themselves. One of the followers asked, talk about Canelo's underhanded tactics. Obviously, we're going to touch on Canelo, but I want to talk about more so divas in boxing, yeah?
Yeah. Ryan Garcia.
I was going to go back a little bit, innit? People see Floyd Mayweather and his demands and what he used to do. They see Canelo doing it now and think, oh, it's the Mayweather effect. You have to take it back. The reason all this shit is going on is Sugar Ray Leonard, yeah? I'm just going to give one example, the Hagler fight. Everyone knows Ray Leonard, he was the golden boy. Everyone loved him. He was the big name and everything, yeah? Hagler got paid more than Leonard for their fight.
Swear.
And I'll tell you why. Yeah? They had their purse split or whatever, yeah? Leonard said, I want a bigger ring. Hagler said, pay me. Cool. Leonard said, I think it was a 10-round fight, I think.
Yeah.
No, it used to be 15 rounds.
Yeah.
It was coming down to 12.
Yeah.
At that point, it was still in transition stage, so you could pick. Leonard said, I want 12 rounds.
Yeah.
Hagler said, pay me.
He got paid for the ring, got paid for the
glove,
yeah.
Everything. Like every demand Leonard wanted, he got it, innit? It weren't just then. It was there was another fighter, I forgot it was. I think it was Donald Curry. Correct me if I'm wrong. And he said, it was his mandatory, and he didn't want to fight him. And someone asked him, why are you not going to fight him? He said, I'd rather fight him in court than fight him in the ring.
Right, hold up. But I don't know what you're trying to touch down on in terms of divas. I understand where you're going, but we could also say that might have been what cost Hagler the fight.
Oh, 100%.
The bigger ring and the less rounds. If he took the smaller ring and the more rounds, took less pay. So what you saying? These divas basically, they're no good. Fuck them off.
Nah, fuck them off, bro. Honestly, proper fights, and it's like Canelo. How are you gonna tell WBC can I fight Anthony Origin for the vacant belt?
It's embarrassing.
What are you gonna fight Callum Smith for?
It's embarrassing.
Yeah, it is embarrassing. It just shows.
I feel like there is a certain. I feel like obviously at that level you will be thinking about your career, thinking about your earnings, thinking about to a certain standard. But I feel like, it's embarrassing once you get to that level as a boxer. And obviously, for instance, the Canelo Yildirim fight, that's an embarrassment. You told me last week Eubank stopped him in 2-3 rounds. It's embarrassing. I'll rather see Canelo or Eubank. I feel that's a good 100%. Fight. I feel that's a good fight.
Even then, that's not even... That's the thing. As a boxing fan, you're thinking, you know what? That's a good fight, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's not what you want to see.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? Callum Smith, Billy Joe Saunders.
Yeah, someone that we actually believe.
100%. There's so many options. You've got Caleb Plant, even Benavidez.
I feel like Eubank, in terms of excitement, because of the personalities, I feel like that's a major thing in boxing. You want to watch a personality. You could have the best boxer in the world. If you don't like their personality, you're not really going to be drawn to watching them fight. Eubank is a personality. You're going to want to see the outcome of that fight.
His dad's a personality.
Huh?
His dad's a personality.
His dad's amazing. But he's still, again, I feel like it's a cocky bravado that you want to see in the ring, because you want to see, are they going to back it up or are they going to look silly? You know what I mean? But just like any business, man, of course there's divas. Once a certain amount of money is being made, and it is a bit of a shambles in the sense that it's the fighting sport. It's meant to be one of the hardest sport in the world, and then you get to that level and you get people taking fights like that and making decisions like that. It is a bit embarrassing. You don't like to see it, but I feel like that's part and parcel of the game, man. We've got to tell you that.
You see how everyone says, the fighters, they all want to fight each other. Do you think that's true?
No. Bollocks.
Oh, I thought you were going to say yes. Obviously, you're a fighter, man. Obviously, most fighters, especially when you come from the amateur ranks where you've got to fight everyone day in, day out. It don't matter who they are. You can't pick and choose. I think with professionals, a lot of them, they just... A lot of fighters are, talk to my management. I'm asking you, who do you want to fight, bro?
100%.
Say who you want to fight, bro.
That's the worst thing to hear, man. Talk to my management, talk to my team. I feel like, as a fighting man, a fighter will always believe in himself that he will win that fight. But the game has got to a certain state where, they're going to turn around and think, but I could get 3 fights, earn this much money, and win them all comfortably, rather than fighting this man who I believe is a serious threat. And I feel like, obviously, it's a shame in boxing, but I do definitely believe fighters play a big role in that. I believe there's a lot of fighters out there that they want to avoid them fights. Even the Yard and Boatsy fight, I was watching the Yard interview the other day, and I love the respect you got for each other. Yard was talking about, stop asking me these questions, Boatsy's in the same boat, he don't like hearing. I like that, but at the same time, I don't like that, because as a fighter, bun that, cuz I don't give a shit if whatever weight I'm boxing in, mention another man's name in my weight category. If I'm not telling you I'm punching him in his face and putting him to sleep, don't take me seriously, cuz I feel like as a fighter, I don't care what name you mention. If they're in my weight category, they're a target. They're in my eyesight. I don't care. I'm not gonna say that later on. Then like, no. Wait, let's make whenever you want to make it happen. Even if I'm obviously after, based on my promotional settings and all that, I have to like play down the fight like it might happen in the future. I'm gonna tell you with confidence that I'm gonna punch him in their face.
It's like Tyson Fury. That's what he does, isn't it? He's one of the biggest swords in the sport.
Come on.
They should be protecting him. There's someone to protect. He don't matter what fight you ask him, he'll tell you one round. That's
I'm punching him up.
Knock him out, this, that.
I feel like that's what you want from a fighter. I feel like, and I do appreciate the respect that fighters get from each other. But like what you said about the fighters really want to make them fights happen. I feel like fighting, like going back to the point of divas, there's a lot of divas in boxing, man. I don't think a lot of them are serious, man. I feel like they've earned good livings, getting like put in places where they need to be, and then avoiding certain fights, and it's become a hobby. I
think with this generation especially, the lifestyle is so appealing, isn't it? Especially when you're up and you're winning, to live in that lifestyle constantly. You have everyone around you. You take a loss and you look around you and think, where's everyone gone, isn't it?
What you saying, these millennials in boxing, But social media is a real thing. Dylan White, shout out Dylan White, because see the memes that come out about him when he lost to AJ. Memes left, right and centre. Snot coming out the nose, getting punched up. You know what I mean? That could ruin a person. Look where do you think he was fazed by that? But I feel like you said, a lot of boxers in this generation now, they're caught up on their image. And I'm not saying that that's not a bad thing. Obviously, you want your image to be you want to be looked at a certain way, and you're in a fighting game. It's a tough sport. You don't want to be laughed at or made jokes about. But when your ambition, when your whole in boxing, I feel like you have to be obsessed with being the best, and you're gonna take that loss. It's gonna happen. But if you can come back from that and become bigger and better and a better fighter, then your image from a previous fight is irrelevant, man. You know what I mean?
I think touch on Ryan Garcia again. I think he's a good example of someone where his Instagram and social media and his everything is a lot higher than his boxing skill.
Yeah. I feel like we don't know yet because he's not been put in with top levels.
Okay, but listen, I ask anyone, go watch him versus Jason Velez,
Yeah.
And you tell me that's a world champion in the making.
Can I just state, I've never watched a Ryan Garcia fight.
But just watch him versus Jason Velez, innit? He's taken the later rounds, and I think there's a fight after that as well, where he looked shocking, god awful. First 3 rounds, top amateur, great, innit? Take him rounds, back him onto the ropes, he'll literally turn and hide like that. With Canelo now, I'll say, with Canelo's new trainer, the improvements he's made has been like dramatic. From what I've seen, the improvements dramatic, where he actually looks like a real contender to me now. Before he was a straight up pretender, now he's a contender. I can see him going in there, he'll give guys decent scraps, innit? But I still think his social media and his mouth, where he was calling out Lomachenko when he could barely fight anyone. So
going back to perceptions, I feel like these fighters nowadays, it's on how they look, and they need to realize, put yourself in the gym, take yourself away from the limelight, take yourself away from the hype, the views and all of that. Even for me, AJ, Anthony Joshua, I'm a big critic of his, because I believe he has the utmost potential out of a lot of people. But I feel like the fact that they was too focused on his marketing image, and that took away from his actual boxing education, learning. But for me, he won Olympics 2012 summertime. He didn't have his debut till start of 2013. He spent 6-7 months building his image, his marketing image. For me, I would have thrown him in the dungeons in America, in the rough gyms, in the doghouse. You know what I mean? And got him fighting. And obviously, Ryan Garcia, the same thing. Obviously, it's a balance, because of his massive social media following is what pays him the money that pays him. He does get paid. But if his focus is that, you're going to get found out. Like we said, chin up in the air earlier, the way he boxes, it's inevitable. He's going to get in there with someone who's going to put him out with a clean right hand over the top. But if he puts that social media and all that hype to the side and just focuses purely on boxing, because he potentially is a great fighter. He has ability. He has a sick ability. I've watched him behind the scenes. I watched these highlight reels and things like that. He definitely has ability, but he needs to focus on what basically his career, which is boxing, and not the hype that comes along with it.
But I feel like with Joshua, since I'm not sure which fight, let's say the Klitschko fight, I've not seen one piece of improvement from him.
No, none.
That can't, to me, Rob McCracken, I think he's done a great job. And I think in the corner, he's a good coach as well. I'm just saying, in terms of improving someone,
100%.
I don't think he's improved him in a very long time.
1-2, pull back, hook.
Yeah,
1-2.
There's been no change or nothing different.
Yeah, 100%. I look forward to seeing his next fight, because of obviously he's worked with this guy behind the scenes. His new trainer that he's got, doing some bits with Rob McCracken as well. And I look forward to seeing the developments he's made. But like I said, for me, AJ is a specimen. And he has the mind, he has the ability, he has the hunger, he has everything that it takes. But I feel like the team around him have allowed him to just get caught up in the social media and the image, portraying the marketing side and all that. But obviously, that's important, because, again, that's what pays his bills. But you want to get in the ring. You know what I mean? You got to take your career serious. Because what happened against Ruiz was shambles.
The last thing I talked about state of boxing, I just thought of this now, yeah? These strength and conditioning coaches, these new sport technology.
Shambles.
Yo, bullshit, bro. You're not
Shambles.
stealing money
Shambles.
from people. You're absolutely stealing money from people.
100%.
You go back and you watch the old fights, yeah? Even heavyweights. Them guys there, they're running in Timberlands. Yeah? They're skipping. They're doing regular stuff. They're hitting trees. You guys are locking guys in chambers with fucking ice in like minus 100 degrees. All like that. And these man can't do 6 rounds.
And you think they'll live with them? You think they'll live with the heavyweights from them days?
Nah. 8 rounds in, these will be gassed out.
Rocky Marciano, I used to run for 90 minutes in steel toe cap boots.
For what reason, bro?
You tell me. But exactly what reason? At the end of the day, it's hard work and it's fitness.
Yeah.
All that matters, hard work and fitness.
That's what I'm saying. If you was to give that to any fighter today, you tell them, store coat, here's your boots.
Yeah. They're gonna tell
jacket.
They're gonna tell you my foot's hurting. They're gonna say, coach, come on, coach. I don't think this is beneficial. I want to wear my customized ASIC running trainers. You know what I mean? But it's a shambles. You go back to that era there, look, rough, tough and ready. Bottom line, that's what boxing was about. And we've had a debate before about football, saying in terms of football, obviously if a team today played a team from 15 years ago, what would be the outcome? And the team today would obviously come out on top because of the way the technical side and all the other sides have benefited and improved, sorry. But if the rules was the exact same as back then, rough, tough and ready. Man like Roy Keane just coming through, double booting, studding people in the face, and the ref just giving the yellow card. Boxing, the rules haven't changed.
I think the officiating has, though. For one example is...
Yeah.
So you've seen Andre Ward fight, people said he clinches and punches. So I'm thinking, bro, in the rules, if you have one arm free, you're allowed to fight.
punch,
I remember back in the day, the refs, if they had 2 hands clinched, they will literally grab your arm, take it off and free it up so that you're able to fight, innit? They're like, we're not waiting for none of that nonsense.
You're getting punched in the face and the rest pulling your arm off. Yeah, it was ruthless back then. Bruv, you was getting knocked down, you was getting up and the guy's in your face.
Yeah, it's literally standing over you
before you've even got to your feet. So yeah, the rules have changed in that sense, but I don't think they've changed drastically. And I feel like it's the fighters in himself and the team behind them that make a scene of it before the fight, that allow the ref to get into the head. Oh, this fighter clinches a lot during his fighting, so let me keep him apart.
Yeah,
I feel like once you're in there, man, listen, rough, tough and ready. Them guys there, even today, for me, 3-minute rounds of boxing, you see 1 minute and 40 seconds or 2 minutes max of action. You see a lot of faking, feinting, thinking, all of that bollocks. You know what I mean? Them guys there, 3-minute rounds, rough, tough and ready. They're in your face, they're fighting. If they take a step back, it's a half step back, then they're back in your face.
And even with the technical fighters, like Carlos Monzon versus, I think the guy's Benavuti, yeah? 2 Hall of Fame legends, yeah? You watch it from the outset, first round, these men, they're not feeling each other out. They're smart boxers, but jab.
Yeah.
For, I think it was 1 minute of like 30 jabs between them.
Yeah.
It's literally straight into it, in your face. And these guys are doing it for 15 rounds. No strength and conditioning, guys. No. And the worst thing about the strength and conditioning, guys, you know when they first came to the boxing? It was code word for drugs. Literally, every single one of them, they all had fighters popped for drugs. You're giving man steroids.
Alex Ariza.
Yeah, Alex Ariza and those boys. You're giving man steroids to help him perform, and he's still not performing better than a guy from 50. His fitness still enough to scratch from a guy 50 years ago. Yeah. You're doing something wrong, bro. All these new training methods, whatever. Muhammad Ali, he didn't do none of them, and he has better fitness than pretty much every heavyweight there. Yep. That tells you something, innit? Like the results more than the whatever science and bullshit you can give me. I'm just looking at this guy's fitter than this guy. Yeah. This guy's training is better. That's it.
If he applies himself properly in the gym and in his life and he's everything, that's the main thing, man. His strength and conditioning coach is no good.
Let's talk.
Fuck off.
Let's talk about one more. I want something close to heart. The coaches. The standard of coaching in boxing is abysmal.
Do you think?
Oh, it's awful.
Why?
These guys. How many fighters at the highest level in boxing right now can fight on the inside?
He's got a good point. Good point.
That's half the fight, bro. You see me how I like fighting.
But is that based on the trainers? You basing it on the trainers?
Them? Like you said, right now it's the amateur style GB, in and out, straight in and out.
All right, so I'm gonna play devil's advocate because I hear where you're coming from and I agree with the point you're making. I understand the point you're making. If you like you said, the refs and the game, the sport is changing in itself in terms of they don't let them do the rough, tough tactics no more. Everything's a little bit more technical and strategic. Then obviously the trainers' fault for lacking that.
All right. The whole key to Andre Ward's success and becoming one of the best fighters of our generation and Floyd Mayweather. Yeah. Let's look at all the top guys in the sport that have dominated recently. Yeah. Floyd, Ward, Canelo, Crawford, Spence.
Inside game.
Every single one. You keep listening. Anyone. Tyson. Inside Parnell, Chavez, bro. All the top legends who have come. Morales, Barrera, Marquez, all the guys who have dominated and been at the top of the pound for pound game. Every single one has that top inside game. Yeah. Not even comfortable, like they're good at it, innit? That's it. That's my whole point. It's like you have to teach guys everything.
So what's your argument?
The coaching standards has dropped. And I'll tell you another thing, yeah? All the top coaches from back in the day, this is a mark of a great coach. How many great coaches they had underneath them? Costa-Mato, he's got Teddy Atlas, he's got Kevin Rooney. Eddie Foch, he's got Parkinson's now, what's his name? Freddie Roach. He's got Freddie Roach. Yeah. All the top trainers from back in the day.
Top trainers learned from top trainers.
Yeah, Emmanuel Stewart, he learned from, Sugar Hill, he learned from Emmanuel Stewart. Every single top trainer has a trainer comes after him.
So you're saying these coaches now today is shambles?
There's no coaches right now who have a team where you think, oh, that second guy is going to become a great trainer. Where there's literally none of them. I think those are telling signs telling you the coaching standard is dropping quite a bit.
Well, me personally, I train Jordan Dujon, Ramis Mahmood, Ram Walker, elite fighters on the inside. Yeah, give it time. Don't worry. Coach AB as well. I've taught him a few things. So if he makes it, then it's credit to me, innit? If he don't make it, I'll take the fucking fool, innit? Fuck it. But I hear what you're saying. Can't argue with that point. I think fuck it, they're peers, innit? They're my rivals right now. I don't like none of them. Fuck it. There's good coaches. There
are good coaches, don't get me wrong.
But I know what you're saying. The inside game, yeah. For me, Ben Davison is a top coach. What he done for Tyson Fury, mad credit for. I feel like a young trainer like that, going into that circumstance, that's fucking, he went into a shit situation. It's hard to win from that, no matter what, with Wilder. But I feel like he can keep his head high in what he done. You know what I mean? It's a great fucking performance in terms of coaching a fighter at that magnitude with the level of experience you had. But I feel like his mindset on the game as well sums up what you're saying. Because when you hear him talk, everything's strategic. Everything's like it's the game plan. In and out boxing, hit and don't be hit. Boxing has become very tactical and very technical nowadays. And that, like you said, that inside game. That's just being, for a fighter, going back to what we was talking about punch resistance, that's just a fighter being confident. You know what I mean? To be able to stand inside, to be able to get up close and personal, knowing that you're going to throw your biggest shots and I'm in range to take them, but I'm going to take this thing out of them.
Yeah. And back with one bigger as well.
Come back with, and I feel like obviously that's part and parcel with the way the game's changing as well, in terms of it becoming very strategic. I feel like it's lost that dynamic of it's the fight.
It's a fight, and you're going in to fight.
You gotta have that as well as obviously all the boxing ability and the boxing smarts. You gotta have that as well.
Yeah, the only thing is saying that now, people be like, Coach AB, who you teaching on the Let's see what your fight is, isn't it? But nah, that's not saying I'm a top level coach, but I'm just saying coaches in general, a lot of your fighters, they ain't really got the inside game. Fighters back in the day when they were doing 15 rounds, 20 rounds, 50 rounds, they didn't even do pad work. And you see now a lot of boxing, half the thing they want to do is pad work, innit? Especially for the fighters. You see the fighters in the gym. You don't give them pads, they're looking at you. You're catching the next punch, innit?
Alston. I don't want no smoke, man. But that being said, this is the Purist, innit? Fuck it. Me and Abs are here. We training young fighters coming through. So we like to talk like we know what we're talking about. We'll see. It will be evident, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
we got a good stable underneath us. We're training these fighters. We got we got 3 professional fighters, all at a good level. We got some elite amateurs coming through. And at the end of the day, the proof is in the pudding, as they like to say. We got our opinions on that side of things. You know what I mean? If your boys don't come through, then you better fucking delete this fucking podcast, bro.
Any other comments on the state of boxing? Just anything in general?
Nah, man, it's a good state. Love boxing.
I'm
all for it.
I was very down on a lot of things. I think in general, the way... Actually, one thing I didn't touch on is what you were saying, the promotion, the hype, how big it is. Boxing, it's one of the oldest sports in the world, and it's still growing, isn't it? And even now, he had a little down period when Pacquiao was kind of out of the game. Floyd retired. There's a little downstage, but now you can see the heavyweights are back. Everything's building up. It's in a good space right now, and that's why it's critical that we get these little things right, like getting the right mandatories, getting the promoters to work with each other. Whilst boxing is booming, if you have all the big fights right now, we'll just take off to another level, innit? So I think that's the disappointing part, where it hurts to see that the fights aren't being made, and boxing is still booming. And
there's no real reason why they're not being made.
Exactly.
Because we're talking about 5, 10, 15% of a major purse.
Yeah, exactly.
At the end of the day, it's the fight fans that make that money, to generate that money. So
that's another thing. The way fighters and managers are so disrespectful about fans. That's like we don't pay your wages. Or you're not getting the fight now. You're gonna have to watch us fight a bum. Pay £800 for the fucking tickets and just be appreciative of what the fuck we give you because you're not getting the ring yourself, innit? I'm just like nah. That disrespect for fans, you can't have that. It's like UFC. They listen to all their fans. When the fans want something, 9 times out of 10.
That's a topic I don't even want to get into right now, bro. That's a deep topic because obviously I've seen even promoters disrespect fighters, but to benefit their own fighter. And I feel like that's poor. It's poor. When you're talking about, again, the AJ Wilder situation, AJ Fury, the heavyweight boxing, when you're talking about 5-10% of 50-60 million pounds. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to hear it that you're not trying to make this fight because this fighter wants an extra 5%, that fighter wants it. Because that fight is worth that money because of the fans that want to see it. Someone needs to someone needs to take the L. It's not even an L. We're talking about 5% of 50 mil. It's not an L, do you know what I mean?
Do you see what they done in the Canelo-Golovkin rematch?
What's that?
I think, obviously the first fight was a draw. If Canelo had won, they had a set purse split. Yeah. So... because he drew, Golovkin was like, nah, we're not doing that anymore,
Yeah.
And then, I can't remember exactly the split, just say it was 60-40. Golovkin said 45% or I'm leaving, innit? Canelo said bye, innit? And then Golden were like, hell no, we'll give you the 5%.
We have to make the fight happen.
So Canelo got 60%, Golovkin got 45%. So someone took that loss of the 5% somewhere.
But still,
if you want it to be made, where you need it to be made, it will get made.
And the thing is, that fight keeps the interest in Canelo, because now Canelo fight after that fight is still worth more money. But if you avoid that fight and like you go straight into a Yildirim or one of these brothers, people gonna lose interest.
Exactly, and that's one thing. If you're 5% off or whatever, both the promoters just have to say, listen, let's come together. We'll take that hit on the 5%, innit? Like, it's not, obviously, it's money that I can't really talk about. I ain't got that, innit?
100%.
I ain't got that, innit? But when you're haggling over 1-2 million out of 60.
We see it a bit too often nowadays with boxing. We see it, you hear them debating and arguing and fights falling through for 5-10%. And you're thinking it's poor because that 5-10% is worth it even for that fighter's future revenue and the money they're going to bring in, because it's going to create hype. That is going to keep them in the limelight, keep them at the top of the game and create a hype for them to move forward.
Yeah. So, still boxing. It's alright. Can get better.
I'll try to vouch for it. But I was just highlighting a few topics.